Space news.
What's up, Internet? We're back here at Outer Space TV with Space News!
Space news and space weather.
Yeah, with Marcus and Kevin. So, Kevin, I mean, you're the pioneer of this segment pretty much. So I'm going to give the first, you can start off. You start us off.
Okay, so we can start off with space weather. The most interesting thing that's happened in our local neighborhood was this past Sunday, so that should be September the 7th, I believe, if I did that math right. I got it right for once. A small asteroid passed very close to Earth, about 1/10 of the distance in between Earth and the Moon, so just outside of the Earth's geosynchronous satellite ring that we've set up, which sounds really cool.
It's just outside the zone of danger, would you say?
Yes. So it missed all the important satellites. It was small to begin with, so it wouldn't have done much damage.
That's good.
Anyway.
It's an asteroid, you said? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So it just passed by, went on its merry way.
Thank God. And,
yes.
Well, it was in the southern, it went by the southern hemisphere, right?
It came up, like, through the south and into the north.
Okay. So
it would have only have hit lots of ocean or Australia. Just one more thing trying to kill Australians.
And let's be fair, Australia, there's a lot of empty space there. So
yeah.
The probability of it hitting
parts of Skylab crash in Australia, so they have a history of this.
Australia, known for being, space's toilet, essentially. Literally, that's where toilets from space have landed, in Australia. I know. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
In other space news, we've discovered, or not personally, not us.
No, not us.
Scientists, astronomers, yada yada yada, have discovered that Saturn's ring, the F ring in particular, is capable of creating micro moons. Moons, not this small, but about the size of mountains. So like Mount Everest-sized moons. So that's still smaller than our moon.
Much, much, much smaller.
Much smaller than our moon, and they don't last very long. But they're made out of. I mean, that F ring is mostly ice, and there is some dust there. Whereas the other rings, A through E, I guess
those are very icy.
Those are very icy. But because F ring is has this dust in it, we can't actually see it that well from Earth because it doesn't reflect the sun's light.
It's also one of the farthest out rings, so it's fairly faint.
And it's very thin. It's only like tens of kilometers, I think, or something like that. Whereas the other rings, like A, B, and C, are tens of thousands of kilometers in width. So that's a fascinating thing, because one thing Saturn needs more of is moons. Freaking greedy.
What is the count up to? 60-something? It's high.
It's stupid. That's the thing. Like, I know Saturn does not have a consciousness. I hope it doesn't have a consciousness.
It doesn't decide to get
It doesn't decide to choose these things. This is just how physics works. But seriously, it's dumb. You don't need this many satellites. I mean, do you think the sun has that many? No. The sun has 9. Well, and technically
a lot.
Technically a lot, but I mean, this is just, the Saturn is an example of a kind of like a mini solar system being formed, but in an annoying way and continually.
Yeah, and all these moonlets are steadily destroyed and recreated.
Yeah, it's a recycling process essentially, in the same regions within the different rings. So I mean, recycling at its finest, and astronomy at its finest. So you had some of that. I think there's one.
Yeah, I mentioned on a previous episode the competition between civilian companies trying to make the next space capsule that NASA will choose.
Yes.
No official decision has still been announced.
Stop looking at those pictures, guys.
But what people have found was that Sierra Nevada has recently just posted a whole bunch of job listings that they did not recently have. So it's being interpreted that they
know something.
Have been notified that things are looking good, that there will at least be some kind of money being shuffled their way. It's still all speculation, because they could just be during a hiring cycle, but it's timing near when a project is being chosen.
It's very suspicious. And so have you looked at the job listings?
No.
Okay. I'm just saying.
But it's all related to spaceflight stuff.
It's aerospace engineering and stuff. Not really stuff that I know much about. This guy there, and you know some stuff.
Some stuff.
Some stuff. You know more stuff than I do, so that's enough stuff to make you more qualified on,
Right.
on the little resume thing, the LinkedIn nonsense. And is that all we have for space news?
No, well, I guess it's just a forward warning that in the next few weeks, two different probes are going to be maneuvering into orbit around Mars. One is MAVEN, so it's an atmosphere probe.
That's from us, right?
That's from us. That's
America.
from the U.S., from NASA. The acronym is MOM for the Mars Orbiter Mission. It's a new space probe that was designed and launched by India, because they have a fledgling space program that's been progressing quite well, and they were actually able to do this for very cheap. I think the numbers I've seen is like $75 million for the satellite mission.
That's pretty...
Which is super cheap compared to our billion-dollar rovers and everything.
2 orders of magnitude cheaper. That's a lot.
Yeah,
of
they're
money.
not landing anything. It's just going to park into orbit and take some measurements. But it's still a great step in the right direction for a country that is developing its space program very, very fast. They're trying to almost compete with China in catching up to all the other companies. Not companies. I keep
saying companies.
Yeah, I keep thinking of all the commercial crew stuff.
Yeah, but the problem. So the one thing that their timing could have been a little bit better.
Oh yes.
Because around the same time that both of these probes are heading into orbit around Mars, a comet will be passing very close to Mars. Within, I think, if I remember correctly, within 1/3 of the distance between the Earth and the Moon, that close to Mars. Now that's scary close for a comet.
Now, the comet itself, that's fine. Space is so big the comet won't hit anything.
Right.
But behind comets are at least 2 tails, either dust or lots of ions.
Yes.
Both of which can damage sensitive electronics. So...
So they're going to have to... I mean, I'm sure they're... we're not that terrible at this sort of thing by now, but we can probably maneuver them in such a way that they'll be out of the way of danger.
Yeah, they're trying to time all the different... because we have a bunch of different orbiters around Mars.
Yeah.
They're trying to time it so that all these different satellites and probes are as far away from the area that the comet is passing through as possible.
Yes.
Now, orbits are pretty fast, like on the order of hours, and the comet flyby is also going to be a few hours in order to pass by at the quickest, really.
So they have to reorient.
So they will still fly into some of this stuff, no matter what. They're going to hit it. So it's just trying to mitigate the damage.
It's too bad they didn't have one of those gels inside the probes so that they could collect some of the dust that they were flying through. Of course, I mean, we're not getting these probes back, so...
Yeah, they're not coming back.
Until we go to Mars to get them, which if you watched our last episode, I said I'm never going, so you have to find somebody else. But, yeah, that's your little bit of space news there. Your non-terrestrial stuff. I know it seems like, the universe is so big, and how does this affect me? Well, it's still your local universe, so you should be aware.
It does matter.
It does matter. As you are matter, and we are matter. And we matter
Everything
as well.
matter.
Everything matter. I really think... I forgot. Anyway. I love you, Kevin. Follow us, like us, subscribe to us, do all those nice things for us. Google Out of Space TV. Wherever you find a button, you can
just
click.
like everything.
Just like it. And please give us feedback. If you like this segment, this space stuff, we can do a longer one. We could teach you things. We'd like to teach you things. I'm thinking at one point we could get Valerie on here, because I know that she loves doing this outreach stuff, and this would be a great way for her to actually help you guys learn some stuff. She could teach us how to tell you things, and yada yada yada. So yeah, she's another astrophysicist with us at RIT, but you'll meet her some other day. For now, we'll see you at the next segment.
Yep, see ya.